All right. Well, welcome to Aligning CRM Data here. So I am here to celebrate 1 year of doing these and had a number of people that were RSVP'd, and here we are. We are here. I am not sure if it's live streaming. It's saying that I'm live streaming, but I don't know if I am. So if I am, great. If not, I am recording this. So here we go. So, Mark Jamnick, what I do is I work with a lot of creative agency owners and those in the professional services firm field create reproducible sales processes in their CRM and utilize their CRM. So basically, what that really is it's really designing a playbook, if you will. I like to call it a roadmap. And ultimately, though, what we really want to do is we really want to be able to organize our customer relationship management tool, CRM. And where I feel a lot of people tend to look at CRMs, it's they focus on the automation, which is absolutely huge, and it's essentially something that is really powerful about CRMs. The challenge, though, is the relationship part is largely left out. And the reason that is because they're not essentially the people that are not, and you may be one of them, and so this is not coming from any place of judgment. It's simply just a place of observation. Um, there's things where you're not very clear on the alignment of who it is that you're really serving. And that could be a lot of different people. So I'm not just saying it can only be one particular segment, sector, persona. I often talk to my clients about the persona power of three. And there's different variables inside of what the persona power of three is. And think about it though, is it's one particular client that you really enjoy serving and you know that you can serve them and they really are looking for the products and services that you're offering. And so what we really want to start off with is, are we aligned with that particular client? And in many cases, and again, this comes from zero judgment, many cases that is zero. Many cases that is, let me kind of get, I have an idea, but it's not clear. So what we really do first is to really get started and clarify who that persona is. And so um, I send out this. I'm gonna share my screen real quickly, so you could see this. And for those that are watching this at a later time, if you'd like this, I invite you to come back to a particular CRM call. I do this on the first Thursday of every month. Like I said, this is actually celebrating 1 year of doing these. And so what I do is I actually send out this the worksheet for sales naming conventions, and I even included like a must knows guys if you'd want to learn a little bit more about it. But we talk about the various aspects, and this is actually a fillable form, so you can actually fill this out. And so I like sending this out for us to really review inside of what we're talking about here. And so as I'm going to go through a number of the aligning your CRM details, these are some of the main things that you're really going to want to understand because you want to go back and really start to take a look at these main principles. Now, there are a lot more. I like to start with these because they're pretty simple. For those that attend these live CRM Q&As, I also send out a worksheet afterwards and really say, hey, here's everything we talked about in the naming sheet. Here's what it looks like actually in a Google Sheet. And you could start using it right now. And even if you may be using a CRM currently, giving yourself the opportunity to export it, clean up the data, because it's very difficult to clean up the data inside of a CRM. So what I'm inviting everyone to do is again take a look at this. I'm going to go through a number of these sources or these fields, and then you can kind of select one of them and start to really identify if you were to pull up any particular person in your CRM, if you are in fact using a CRM right now. Or if it's more of a glorified spreadsheet, again, either way, there's no judgment. It's just simply recognizing where you are and observing where you are. Take a look at these particular fields so that you can say, oh, it would be great for over the next week, over the next month. I really just want to make sure that I know where all of these clients came from. Again, that might not necessarily be your top priority. My suggestion, especially since we're talking about aligning, is understanding your persona. And so, I obviously, again, I talk about the persona power of three. And so, when you identify those personas, you can be very clear on what it is that they need, um, what challenges they're really facing, and then anything that might be a way for you to identify that particular persona. Um, and this is where it comes very apparent and very important as you're doing marketing because that persona may not even be on Instagram. They may only be on LinkedIn, as an example, right? I'm obviously just making up an example for you to reference and to take a look at. And so instead of you trying to think about all the different places and the platforms, because there's so many, your persona may not be on all of them or any of them. And so you want to get clear on where it is that they are, and then after you get clear on where they are, identifying and clarifying what types of messages that you want to share. I'll give you an example. For me, I've really been focusing a lot on Michael Marketer, and there's actually something on my website where you can actually download an email if you wanted to refer me to a Michael Marketer. And I say about here's all the challenges that Michael Marketer faces. And from there, uh, I got really clear on when I'm communicating something on LinkedIn because I know Michael marketers on LinkedIn. I regularly see Michael marketers on LinkedIn. I connect with a lot of Michael marketers on LinkedIn. So if we're connected, you may see other Michael marketers. And Michael marketers are creative advertising agency owners that have been in business for over 5 years. And so, I mean, there's other characteristics of who they are at the same time. It's just that gives you a little bit more of a context of this. So when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about who Michael Marketer is when I want to start to communicate and connect with them, maybe on a LinkedIn. And then as we get connected on LinkedIn, there's an opportunity for me to stay engaged and interact and have more communication with them offline, or I guess still online through email. And this email opportunity gives me a chance to follow up with them in a way of adding value based off the goals and some of the challenges that they may be facing. And so I am so um, I can't underline it enough how important the start of the persona is. Years ago, this was really instilled in me as I was going to Joe Polish was doing these events, and he still does the podcast, but the event's called I Love Marketing. And he had this breakthrough DNA report, and it was all about select a single target market one at a time. And that is essential, right? It was the profit activator number one in this breakthrough DNA report that you could still download and go on. And I highly encourage it because there's a lot of great tools and strategies around it. And what that does is it gives you clarity, because how do you communicate to someone that you're not quite sure who you're trying to talk to? Like, I just want you to take a moment and think about that. If you're trying to appeal to everyone, um, you're missing out on the nuances of the very specific opportunities that a particular persona that may truly really value your services, may truly get tons of benefits from it, and they're going to be amazing proponents for you, referral partners of your company, and any of those types of things. So before you're going to do any type of alignment of your CRM, again, my invitation to you is to select the number of personas that you have, and then from there, take a look at, in your client base, how many of your client base fits into those various personas. And what you'll start to quickly see is there's one that kind of rises to the top simply because of the fact that, and I don't mean in any judgmental way, it's just you serve more of this particular persona than you do this persona. Now, that may be because of some of the messaging that you've been saying and all of that. When you could start to parse this out, you could start to align what you need to in order to make sure of this. Now, I'm talking about CRM. And before you can do anything with CRM, you've got to be clear on what it is that you're going to say, because how can you automate something if you don't know who you're trying to send to, whom you're trying to send something to, and what you want to send to them? And so if you skip this step, which many people do, and you feel it, you've been on the recipient side of this where someone's just blasting something out. I give an example. This was, I don't know how many months ago I did this, but I shared a friend of mine who I met many, many years ago, was launching and doing some things. And I knew that she knew that I was a contact. She knew my email, and she threw me into her like email blast. And um, her email blast was specifically geared towards women finding something specific. And I don't want to get into any specific details because I don't. I actually did call my client, my friend, and say, like, look, I know what you're trying to do. I love that you're attempting to do this. And what you just did was you actually we have a friendship, and you kind of threw me into this business relationship without me really um opting in, if you will. Now, again, it's not like I was going to spam her or anything along those lines. I did unsubscribe because I'm like, you're sending me information that is not relevant to me. And so by you being able to get clear on who these different personas are, the more those recipients of your messaging are going to actually feel connected to and choose to want to develop a deeper relationship with you, deeper business relationship with you. As you're talking to them and communicating to them in a way that really serves them. So aligning starts with who do you look to serve with your messaging, with your product service, and essentially how it is that your team can really deliver on. Now, that being said, the next alignment piece is kind of really understanding where they fall in the process, in the funnel, so to speak, right? There's the top part of the funnel where you're just kind of putting a lot of different people in. And in one particular instance, right, for this particular friend that I met years ago, she was just like, hey, there's a lead up there, right? But having thousands of leads that are not your audience, like, she was really specifically focusing in on women. That is not me, and like what her service was not appealing to me. Now, if she had mentioned something specifically about, hey, this could be a gift for your wife or for your whatever, your girlfriend or whomever that might be, then now all of a sudden it's a different perspective. But it was the call to action was for the opener of the email to do um, the very task of like signing up for that particular program. And so, like I said, I'm just giving you some examples of where we want to understand who the persona is, and then also what that life cycle stage is of where they are. So let's just say in this particular instance, right, there's she is going after this particular female who has been um, looking to build a business or whatever it might be. That could be a lead. And then if there's something that happens where that person that woman opens the email and starts to interact, now all of a sudden the life cycle stages, she starts becoming more of a potential client of this particular business. And so what you want to start to do is to start to align where all of those personas are inside of the sales funnel. And so as you start to think about what your sales funnel looks like, what are the steps and the stages as they become closer and closer and closer to a client? And I invite you to start to, classify them into these various life cycle stages. Now, life cycle stages is a term that is used in HubSpot. Um, I am I am CRM agnostic in the sense that I say is a very umbrella term. all CRMs do the same thing. So what CRMs do is give you an opportunity to, client relationship manage the people that you're looking to serve. Like that's what a CRM really is designed to do. And then also keep track of the touch points, where opportunities come in and where opportunities go out and where opportunities are closed. And the more you're clear on this inside of the life cycle stage or whatever that term may be in terms of what is a lead called. So I also use Active Campaign, and there's a number of different CRMs, and so they may have different names for this life cycle stage. The idea though is where is your prospect in the funnel? And how do you make sure that you're aligning what you need to be sending them? Because if you're sending some general information as they first start to engage, you want them to get to know, like, and trust you. And as they continue to keep learning more and more about you, you can be more specific in the offerings of what it is that you're doing. Like I offer a what quote unquote what you get when I'm working with my clients, or when I'm talking with clients as we or prospects as we've worked through, the initial meeting and then the follow-up meeting. It's like, hey, here's what exactly this ReConnect framework program really is. I'm not going to send that off initially until we have more of a clear understanding that they are qualified from the sense of like, hey, they are and I'm going to just use the persona Michael marketer. They are a Michael marketer and they fit a lot of the characteristics and the goals of what they're looking to do, the challenges that they're facing, and the solution that I have that could truly serve them. And as I look at that, that's when it's a qualification from them to me to make sure that I am actually looking and hearing what they need and what it is that I can serve with the products and service that I offer. And so there's a qualification happening on both sides. And so as we look at the life cycle stage, giving you a chance to see where and aligning where those different personas are in the various stages gives you a chance to communicate the right types of things with your audience in a way that, again, is communicating what it is that they need in that particular part of the client journey. Lead status is a little bit more sophisticated, if you will, in the sense of like you can have life cycle stages and then various lead statuses. So you could have an opportunity that is like in the works, and you could say that is new. But that's a lead status from HubSpot, or you could have it as in progress, where it's like, okay, yeah, we're really actively talking about, they have a proposal in front of them, they have a presentation in front of them, they have the contract, they have the MSA in front of them, whatever that might be. So you could kind of label and rule, what does a lead status mean? Again, I tend to invite my clients after they've been using lifecycle stage for a long period of time, and I'm saying almost a year. Then you can add in the lead status, because lead status is a little bit beyond. It's a little bit more advanced, just because you're talking about some other nuances, and you want to make sure that you're clear on all the nuances. And then the last thing is the filters, and we have a couple minutes left here. And this is normally a Q&A. Like I said, there were a number of people that had just recently declined for whatever reason. And so I'm filling in the space here to make sure that I continue to follow through on my commitment to do this on the first Thursday of each month. And so as we look at filters, filters give you a chance to start to look at the things we were just discussing. So persona and lifecycle stage, let's just use those as an example. So let's say you've got a Michael marketer, and I'm just going to use another example from another business of mine called Corey CEO. And I can separate and understand that Corey CEO, for again, another business of mine, I can filter out and say, I'd like to communicate some things to Michael marketer because these products and services are specifically designed for Michael marketer. And then I've got this persona, Corey CEO, where he has a completely different product that I'm offering. And so what I want to make sure of is that I'm not sending the same types of messages to Corey CEO. And while there's a chance, I'm using a little bit of an asterisk here, there's a chance that Corey CEO might be a micro marketer because he might own a creative agency, but more than likely that's not the specificity that I'm looking for from a Corey CEO. Actually, Corey CEO has just successfully exited a business. He's successfully sold. And so I understand there's a major difference there. Now, he may have just recently sold an ad agency, but what I'm being very specific about is I want to filter out the right type of thing. What it comes back to, though, is aligning who it is that I'm serving and who it is that fits inside of this persona, who is it that fits inside of, and how do they align with this life cycle stage. So again, you can serve the right types of people. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to no one. So be something to someone. That came to me about 13 years ago, as I was first kind of hearing about this whole I love marketing and understanding a select a single target market one at a time. I'm like, that it really started to make really made sense. It took me a number of years to really get there. So if you're not there, be gentle with yourself. It takes a while because what you're doing is you're saying no to a lot of potential opportunity. Now, that potential opportunity, though, if you decide to say yes to it, you and or your team may end up running down a lot of rabbit holes that may not serve you or your company. There's been a number of times that I've talked with my clients, and there have been clients that they've taken on that have cost them money and aggravation. And so when you're not clear and aligned on who it is that your persona is, those are the types of things that happen because the short term of revenue in feels good. Yet when you factor in the labor costs, the frustration, and then all of the other things where payments may or may not even be received for the work that's done. So you end up spending a lot of time, resources, i.e., money, right? And a lot of other things, along with your mental like stress that goes along with it. So the more clear you can get inside of it all, the more aligned everything gets further. And so I offer this, you heard me reference a little bit of the ReConnect framework. So I offer a ReConnect framework, which really isolates for 3 months. We do a kickoff. So the kickoff is 3 months. And what we really do is we start to align all of these details so that you are clear on what these things are. And that comes with communication points and all of these other reference points for you to be able to align and have your team align with the bigger goals that you're looking for. Because um, chaos confuses, simplicity scales. And the big thing that happens inside of the ReConnect framework is that it's really about simplicity. We're going back to say, hey, yes, you could be working with all these people, yet these are the main, you hear the Pareto principle, 80% gets you 20% of your results or 20% of your activity gets you 80% of the results. So what are the 20% that we really want to focus on? You're not, unless you're Amazon, you're serving, lots of different personas um, or lots of different products. Mind you, when Amazon started, well, I'm going to use a reference point to a product, not a persona, but it's the same thing. Amazon really homed in on just books. It was A to Z books, essentially, Amazon books. And they got really clear and got really good at delivering books. And from there, they branched and they expanded and they expanded and they expanded and they expanded. And so that's the power of understanding your persona and understanding a very clear persona, then beginning to expand from there because you have a very clear baseline of what the clarity is for you and or your team to really understand what that looks like. So if you are interested at all in the ReConnect framework, what we start off with is a sales evaluation, and there's 7 major steps inside of that. And so we're going to dig into that. And then our call is really for me to understand a little bit about how you filled out that form. And then really, what are some of the goals that you're looking to accomplish? And again, if there's a really good fit, if you're a micro marketer and you own a creative advertising agency, marketing firm, anything in that space of marketing, I spent almost a decade and a half in that world. It's really why I have this main focus on the longer tail B2B sales process, which is really where what happens inside of the advertising sales world. So would love to have an opportunity to do that. Go on to kindredgrowth.com and click on the connect button, and then we'll have a chance to send me a message, and then we'll find a time and meet and connect. And I look forward to meeting you. And thank you so much for joining today. Appreciate it. And let me know if there's any questions. Go ahead and you could comment on anything in there. I'm regularly in YouTube commenting and taking a look at this. So let me know if there's anything I can do to serve. Thank you so much.